Every event in your life isn't random, it's routed. There's a hidden energy circuit connecting every decision, every emotion, every coincidence you've ever lived. And the shocking part is, this circuit isn't spiritual poetry. It's literal electrical architecture, a feedback system between your nervous system and the field around you. They didn't erase this knowledge because it was dangerous. They erased it because it made people self-generating, impossible to control. Here's what they never wanted you to understand. Your thoughts don't create reality. Your charge does. Every thought that leaves your mind rides on a current. That current either carries coherence, clean, focused voltage, or distortion, scattered and leaking. When the current is coherent, reality bends to match it, like metal drawn to a magnetized core. When it's distorted, you get chaos, confusion, and delay. The hidden circuit runs in 3 layers: internal voltage, external feedback, and command return. Internal voltage is the energy your body generates through emotion and breath, your living battery. External feedback is the response the field gives you: synchronicities, resistance, acceleration. Command return is what happens when your signal loops back stronger, amplifying the version of you that emitted it. The old initiates called it the mirror loop. Modern science buried it under quantum jargon, but your body still speaks its language. Every pulse, every shiver, every gut pull is part of that conversation. You felt it, that sudden knowing that something is about to happen, or that invisible shift when someone enters the room. That's not intuition. That's the circuit updating in real time. The truth is simple and explosive. You are not inside reality. Reality is inside your circuit. And the moment you learn to regulate that circuit consciously, to stabilize its voltage and direct its command, you stop reacting to the world, and the world starts reacting to you. When I first understood how the hidden circuit actually runs, everything clicked. Every coincidence, every energetic block, every pattern that seemed to repeat no matter how hard I tried to change it. Because the truth is, your reality doesn't form from your thoughts. It forms from the voltage of your attention. Imagine your body as a generator, constantly emitting charge. Each emotion adjusts the current, like a dial on an amplifier. But here's the catch. The current can only complete its loop and alter reality if the circuit is closed. And most people are living in an open circuit, bleeding voltage every time they resist, doubt, or split their focus. The system never stabilizes long enough to send a coherent command to the field. Now picture this. Every time you hold a thought, your nervous system sends a low-frequency pulse through your entire body. That pulse doesn't stop at your skin. It extends outward, interacting with the electromagnetic field around you. A real, measurable field that carries biophotonic information. When you maintain the same signal long enough, the field begins to adjust its geometry around your dominant frequency. Space itself reorganizes probability paths to align with your signal's tone. That's the hidden mechanism. Energy responds to consistency, not intensity. But the world teaches the opposite. We're told to push harder, manifest faster, want it more. And that constant force actually fragments the circuit, scattering the current like a broken wire sparking in open air. Coherence collapses. The signal goes nowhere. The real operators of this knowledge, ancient architects, frequency engineers, even early intelligence agencies experimenting with biofield resonance, discovered that control isn't about pressure. It's about closing the loop. When your inner voltage matches the emotional frequency of the outcome you're commanding, a feedback bridge forms. The external world reflects that frequency like an echo chamber. You don't chase results anymore. The circuit delivers them automatically because it's already encoded in the current. Every thought you broadcast without coherence becomes static in your own field, draining your power, clogging your bandwidth. Every breath you take with conscious voltage alignment rewires the circuit tighter, sharper, more precise. And that's where the danger lies. Because once you understand how to regulate that voltage and loop it back into itself, the system that thrives on your scattered energy can no longer feed on you. That's why they erased the maps of the hidden circuit. But the architecture still runs beneath your skin. The greatest myth ever sold is that your mind is the source of power. It's not. The mind is only a switchboard. It routes the current, but it doesn't create it. That's why millions of people visualize, affirm, and repeat positive thoughts, yet nothing changes. They're flicking switches in a dark room, never realizing the generator was never on. Energy isn't commanded by language. It's commanded by charge stability, the unshakable consistency between emotion, breath, and focus. When these 3 align, Your nervous system produces a harmonic field, and that field bends probability. When they're misaligned, the circuit shorts and your signal collapses into noise. Let's break that down with something simple. Picture yourself after an argument. Your chest tight, breath shallow, mind replaying what you could have said. Your body is still radiating a field of voltage spikes. Each pulse tells the environment, I'm in threat mode. So the field reflects that command. Your phone dies at 1%. Messages go unanswered. Small accidents cluster in hours. It's not superstition. It's electrical feedback. You're emitting a fragmented signal, and the circuit is mirroring the static. Now contrast that with the moment after you ground yourself. One long, deep breath, awareness dropping into the base of your spine. The charge stabilizes. The circuit closes again. Within minutes, something shifts. A text arrives. Tension diffuses. Clarity returns. That's the circuit responding in real time, recalibrating its geometry to your restored coherence. Here's the myth-busting core. Reality isn't testing you. It's syncing with your signal integrity. Every obstacle, delay, or opening is diagnostic feedback, your circuit talking back. The energy system is brutally honest. You can't lie to it with words or fake affirmations. It reads only your voltage signature, not your verbal claim. That's why manipulation never works for long. The field always measures coherence, not intention. And that's also why positive thinking without emotional congruence backfires. When the body feels fear but the mind declares faith, the current splits in two opposing directions. The feedback becomes unpredictable, outcomes scatter, and your voltage drops. The real power begins the moment you stop trying to convince the field and start calibrating your charge. Because once the current flows without interference, thought turns from language into code, a direct modulation of space itself. But there's something deeper, a function of the circuit they never told you existed. A secret feedback layer that controls how much influence your signal can actually exert on the external grid. And once you activate it consciously, reality doesn't just respond, it obeys. Every voltage system needs a stabilizer, a regulator that prevents overload or collapse. In your hidden energy circuit, that stabilizer is your nervous system. It's not just biological wiring, it's the conductor of your field symphony. Every signal your body sends, heartbeat, breath rhythm, micro-muscle tension, modulates the quality of the current that shapes reality around you. Most people think anxiety, fatigue, or confusion are mental problems. They're not. They're voltage instability. The circuit is fluctuating faster than the nervous system can regulate. When that happens, your signal to the field flickers and coherence breaks. You stop commanding reality and start getting random echoes back. Here's how it works. Your sympathetic system, the fight-or-flight engine, is like a power surge, fast, reactive, designed to defend. Your parasympathetic system, the rest and integrate mode, is the ground wire. It stabilizes the voltage. Both are essential, but when the surge dominates for too long, your field begins to oscillate in jagged patterns. Those oscillations scramble feedback, leading to distorted events, missed timing, emotional noise, miscommunication, even electronic interference. When you calm the nervous system, the opposite happens. The circuit finds phase alignment. Waves sync, current smooths, command signals amplify. Coherence isn't relaxation, it's electrical precision. You can feel it instantly with this practice. 45 seconds that reset your voltage alignment. 1. Sit upright, spine relaxed, not rigid. 2. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Feel the breath fill the base of your spine, not your chest. 3. Hold for 4 seconds, not tense, just stable. 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. 5. Between breaths, let your attention rest on the exact moment your heart pulses. Don't visualize, just sense the rhythm. Do this 3 times. What happens is electrical. The breath smooths the current, the awareness grounds it, and the heart syncs the waveform. Within 45 seconds, the field stabilizes. You'll feel your perception sharpen, like reality just got quieter, clearer, more responsive. This isn't placebo, it's coherence restoration. The heart's electromagnetic output, when regulated by breath and focus, synchronizes the brain's oscillations, locking your entire system into a unified frequency band. Once that happens, your thoughts transmit cleanly again. The circuit hums. That's why calm isn't weakness, it's conductivity. Because every surge, every emotional flare, every reaction costs voltage. But every moment of grounded coherence increases signal density, making your commands to reality more precise and undeniable. And here's the paradox. The quieter your system becomes, the louder reality answers. Every emotion you feel is voltage in motion, energy compressed into frequency. Anger, love, fear, desire, they're not opposites. They're different charge levels of the same current. The difference between breakdown and power is how you direct that charge once it rises. Most people discharge emotion outward, through reaction, venting, or escape. They blow the fuse before the current can circulate through the hidden circuit. But trained operators don't release emotion. They route it. They feel the heat rise in the body, and instead of identifying with it, they redirect it through breath and focus until it stabilizes into voltage. That voltage becomes usable force, the literal power that shapes events. Emotion isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be conducted. When you suppress a feeling, you don't neutralize it. You interrupt the current, creating static nodes in your field. Those nodes become attraction points for repeating experiences, forcing you to relive the same situations until the circuit is cleared. That's why the same triggers keep returning. Your field is trying to complete the loop you refuse to feel. There's an advanced rule here. Emotion is information. Every surge has a frequency signature containing data about your relationship to the field. Anger shows where power is leaking. Grief shows where current has collapsed. Joy indicates voltage expansion. Instead of labeling these emotions as good or bad, treat them as diagnostics. They tell you exactly where the circuit needs recalibration. Try this in practice. The next time your heart races, don't run from it. Focus on the raw sensation of the charge, the pulsing, the heat, the movement. Breathe into the sensation, not away from it. That breath transforms reactive energy into coherent energy. Within seconds, you'll feel a distinct click. The moment the emotion stops owning you and starts fueling you. That's the hidden art of emotional alchemy. Once you master this, even fear becomes an amplifier. Because fear is just high voltage current misinterpreted by a destabilized system. When you stabilize it, fear turns into focus, hesitation into precision. The same electricity that could have burned you becomes a power source. But here's what they never wanted you to realize. If emotion fuels your circuit, then whoever controls your emotions controls your energy. And that means most people are not living their own lives, they're running someone else's current through their field. If emotion is voltage, then whoever can modulate your emotional charge can redirect your circuit without ever touching you. That's the foundation of field hijack. It's not abstract. It's an engineered interference that weakens your signal precision so the field no longer follows your command, but responds to the collective static instead. Every system that bombards your nervous system with overstimulation, news cycles, scrolling feeds, digital arguments isn't just stealing attention. It's scrambling voltage patterns. Each outrage, fear spike, or dopamine hit pulls a fragment of your current outward. Eventually, the hidden circuit loses coherence. You stop emanating a clear frequency and start broadcasting noise, easy to influence, easy to drain. They call it energy harvesting in esoteric circles, but mechanically it's simpler. It's resonance theft. When your field locks onto someone else's emotional frequency, your current synchronizes to their signal strength. Whoever maintains coherence in that interaction controls the voltage flow. You're in a meeting. Someone dominates the space. Aggressive tone, rapid speech, confident posture. Instantly, your heart rate changes. Your shoulders tighten. Without realizing, your nervous system entrains to their frequency. Their field sets the rhythm. Yours adapts. They've hijacked your circuit. You didn't lose confidence. Your waveform got overridden. Now watch what happens when you reclaim it. Breathe once, slow and deep. Anchor your attention in your body. Feel your feet. As you exhale, imagine your voltage dropping lower, slower, denser, like heavy current sinking through the floor. Within seconds, your waveform changes. Their signal hits resistance. The field recalibrates. Suddenly, their influence weakens, not because you fought back, but because you restabilized your frequency. Energy obeys coherence. The denser, calmer field always dominates the chaotic one. That's the hidden war you were never told existed. Not between people, but between signal strengths. Every conflict, argument, or manipulation attempt is a battle of voltage control. The one who maintains emotional regulation dictates the circuit geometry, which means they dictate the outcome. To reclaim your command, you must become aware of when your voltage is being modulated. Every time you feel reactive, pause. Don't speak. Don't move. Just sense. Is this emotion mine or resonance feedback from another field? That question alone disrupts the hijack pattern. The moment awareness re-enters, the loop closes back to you, because sovereignty begins at the level of signal control. Once you own your frequency, no system, social, digital, or energetic, can rewrite your current again. But there's another layer most never reach. A reprogramming protocol that doesn't just defend the circuit, it rewrites it. Once you see the circuit, you realize you don't need protection, you need precision. Energetic reprogramming isn't about shielding yourself from the world, it's about refining your current until no interference can find resonance with it. A clean signal can't be hacked. It doesn't react, it transmits command. The key is repatterning voltage behavior inside your own field. Every energetic leak, emotional distortion, or looping thought is just a misfired circuit pattern waiting for recalibration. And the tools aren't mystical, they're mechanical. You're about to learn how to rewire yourself in real time. 1. Breath code sync. Breath is the manual override of your circuit. Every inhale charges the system. Every exhale programs it. The technique: inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Feel the charge build like a coil tightening. Hold for 2 counts. That's your command window. Exhale through the mouth and mentally drop one simple word that represents your desired state. Clear, sharp, steady. This creates a direct imprint. The word becomes an electrical command encoded into the field as data. Do it 3 times and you'll feel the body respond instantly. 2. Charge reset. Throughout the day, your field picks up static from other people's emotions, fragments of unprocessed charge that attach like dust. To reset, place one hand on your sternum, one on your lower abdomen. Breathe deeply and imagine a neutral white pulse syncing both hands. On the 3rd breath, imagine the pulse expanding outward 1 meter from your body, clearing the static. This is a literal field refresh. Your nervous system reclaims its baseline frequency. 3. Focus redirect. Where attention rests, current flows, but direction matters. The trick is to create a vector, not just focus. Visualize your goal not in front of you, but already inside your field, like a completed circuit. When you sense that completion, stop thinking about it. Let the loop close itself. Over-focusing burns voltage. Silent knowing conducts it. 4. Field seal. At the end of the day, before sleep, visualize your field as a golden circuit ring around your body. As you exhale, imagine that ring tightening by 1%. Not rigid, just sealed, meaning no outgoing charge unless consciously directed. You'll wake up with cleaner emotional data and faster intuitive calibration. These 4 operations aren't rituals. They're rewiring commands. Each one adjusts the geometry of your field grid, and every adjustment amplifies command precision. Have you ever felt your mood shift the instant you entered a crowded room? Like the air itself was coated with emotion? That wasn't imagination. That was the field transmitting voltage data. Tell me your most vivid moment like that in the comments. Because that sensitivity, the ability to feel the grid, is exactly what makes you dangerous to systems built on interference. Every circuit has failure points, places where energy leaks, reverses, or loops endlessly. The hidden circuit of your field is no different. You can master breath, clarity, and charge. But if these energetic traps stay active beneath your awareness, the system still bleeds voltage. There are 3 core distortions that almost everyone falls into: overforce, split signal, and unconscious reversal. Overforce happens when you push your energy faster than your nervous system can conduct. You'll feel it as impatience, obsession, or mental strain. The current overheats, coherence collapses, and outcomes start slipping further away. The field reads your signal as lack because the push tells space you don't trust your own voltage. The transmutation: cease transmission. Stop broadcasting entirely. Sit, breathe, and wait until your pulse slows down. Let the field catch up to you. True command is silent. Overforce is desperation pretending to be power. Split signal is when 2 opposing commands run through the same circuit. I want this and I'm afraid of this. The field can't decode contradiction, so it mirrors both: mixed results, half manifestations, looping circumstances. You'll feel it as static behind the ribs or dizziness after long visualization sessions. The fix is radical honesty. Speak aloud the hidden command, the fear, the doubt, the resentment. Naming it collapses the interference pattern. Once both signals are acknowledged, They merge into one unified waveform, and your voltage doubles. Unconscious reversal is the most dangerous. It's when your circuit starts broadcasting inverted commands because emotional charge got trapped in memory loops. For example, you say you want connection, but deep down you associate intimacy with pain. The body reads that as danger and reverses the voltage. Every time you reach for closeness, the field mirrors avoidance. The reversal protects you, but it also isolates you. The repair requires presence, not effort. When the emotion resurfaces, don't reframe it. Feel it completely until the current runs out. The reversal only survives in resistance. Once the feeling flows through without interruption, polarity normalizes automatically. There's also a subtler trap: energetic mimicry. Spending too much time absorbing the signals of others, your field begins to copy their rhythm. Over time, you forget your native frequency. This is why silence and solitude are not luxuries. They're recalibration chambers. You need time in your own signal to remember how your voltage actually sounds. Most people live their whole lives inside these distortions, wondering why reality feels delayed, distorted, or unstable. They're not cursed. Their circuit is just miswired. Because when you correct these traps, something astonishing happens. Your signal stops reacting to probability. It directs it. And that's where integration begins, when movement itself becomes transmission. When the circuit stabilizes, life stops feeling like a sequence of tasks. It becomes a current. Every motion, every silence, every decision hums with electrical precision. You're no longer trying to use energy. You are the voltage conducting through reality's grid. Integration begins the moment awareness becomes continuous. That means your regulation doesn't switch off once meditation ends or work begins. The body itself becomes the instrument. Walking, speaking, typing, all of it can be signal transmission if the current remains clean. Picture it. You wake up, and before touching your phone, you pause for 3 breaths. You feel your inner voltage rise, that subtle pressure behind the eyes, that charge in the chest. You let it stabilize, then move. From that point on, the day responds like an extension of your rhythm. Conversations align, timing sharpens, intuition updates in real time. You're not controlling events. You're syncing with the field's live feedback system. The secret to integration is velocity management. Most people move faster than their coherence bandwidth can handle. The field then fragments into micro delays and emotional friction. When you move slightly slower than your reactive impulse, you regain command latency, the split-second window where choice replaces habit. That's where energetic mastery lives, between impulse and movement. You're about to send a message you know comes from irritation. Your fingers hover, adrenaline peaks. Instead of typing, you stop. 1 breath, 2. The emotion doesn't vanish. It compresses into clean current. When you finally speak, the tone lands different. No static. The field hears clarity instead of chaos. The result, the response you wanted appears not because you manipulated it, but because you removed distortion from the transmission. This is what ancient operators called living inside the mirror. Every movement reflects instantly. The delay between cause and effect collapses. The more coherent your circuit, the faster the reflection returns, until reality becomes interactive, conversational, alive. At this level, focus becomes weaponized precision. A single glance can shift a room's mood. A single sentence can tilt the trajectory of an event. Not because of charisma, because of voltage density. Coherence broadcasts farther than words ever could. But there's a cost to that power. You can't fake anything anymore. The field amplifies whatever you truly are. Every lie, every suppressed emotion, every unaligned thought gets magnified. The circuit demands transparency. And when you live in that transparency long enough, something begins to happen that no book ever warned about. Reality starts to anticipate you. Once you start operating as a stabilized circuit, the ripple effect extends beyond emotion or awareness. It begins to rewrite the architecture of your external systems. Money, relationships, purpose. They're not separate areas of life. They're distinct voltage domains that sync to your signal stability. The cleaner the circuit, the more precision you have over these domains. Money is nothing more than concentrated exchange voltage. Every financial interaction, a sale, an offer, a negotiation, is a meeting of frequencies. When your circuit holds coherence, others unconsciously feel safety and flow around your field. Deals accelerate. Opportunities cluster. Not because you manifested them, but because your stable current creates predictable flow paths. Markets, clients, and timing all read that stability as authority. But when fear enters, scarcity, doubt, guilt, the circuit constricts. Voltage drops, transactions stall. You don't lose abundance. You just emit a fragmented signal that the field can't lock onto. The fix isn't working harder, it's clearing the static. Reopen the loop, and flow resumes. Relationships are voltage mirrors. Every connection you maintain is a resonance exchange. If your field runs chaotic, you'll attract people vibrating at that same instability. Dramatic, inconsistent, unpredictable. Once you stabilize, the dynamic flips. You start meeting people who don't drain but amplify. Circuits that interlock cleanly with yours. That's why true chemistry feels electric. It is electricity. Two coherent signals forming a temporary merged field that magnifies both. When communication breaks, don't look for blame. Feel for the voltage mismatch. Every argument is an impedance spike. When one person grounds, coherence reestablishes and harmony returns. That's why the calm one always wins. Not morally, electrically. Purpose is the final circuit alignment. It's not a goal, it's your signal's natural trajectory when unblocked. You don't find purpose, you remove interference until your voltage flows where it always wanted to go. When that happens, actions feel inevitable, decisions effortless, results amplified. Purpose is coherence in motion, the field expressing itself through you as pure directive energy. Scenario number 3, a creative entrepreneur burning out after constant launches. She stabilizes her voltage daily, breath grounding, focus redirection. Within weeks, she stops chasing clients. They begin reaching out first. Her nervous system stopped leaking, and the field recalibrated around her signal density. At this level, you don't balance life, you orchestrate it. Each domain becomes a sub-circuit tuned to your master frequency. Money flows, people align, purpose unfolds, not through control, but through electrical congruence. Because once the circuit expands into every domain, reality itself becomes your operating system. And from that point forward, the only threat left isn't interference from others, it's forgetting that the power was never external at all. There comes a moment in this work when the circuit closes so completely that external influence stops registering. You don't resist manipulation, it simply can't find resonance with you. This is energetic sovereignty, when your field becomes self-referential, self-sustaining, and immune to distortion. Sovereignty isn't isolation, it's containment integrity. Your current flows through you and back to you with no leakage. Thoughts pass through without attachment. Emotional waves rise and fall without distortion. The field recognizes only one command source, your coherent voltage. You become the reference signal in any environment, the stable frequency around which other patterns reorganize. At this stage, external systems that once drained you start reversing polarity. People who attempt to provoke you often become calmer in your presence. Technology glitches less around you. Environments feel lighter. None of this is mystical. It's field entrainment. The denser, more coherent circuit always reprograms the weaker ones. Your stability becomes contagious. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to protect your energy, your field seals naturally. Defense implies fear. Fear opens the circuit. Sovereignty needs no shield because coherence itself is armor. To maintain this state, practice micro-awareness. Throughout the day, sense your voltage signature. A subtle hum beneath the skin, a density around the heart. The instant you feel agitation or fatigue, check the loop. Where did your attention fragment? Bring it back. Inhale coherence, exhale command. That's how sovereignty stays alive in motion, not as an idea, but as electrical discipline. There's also a deeper layer few reach, signal neutrality. It's when your field stops reacting even to emotional charge, yours or others. Every input becomes data, not drama. This is the state of the unhackable self. You still feel everything, but nothing owns you. You choose which frequencies to amplify, which to let dissolve. That's mastery, not suppression, but selection. Once you live from this neutrality, you can walk into chaos and remain untouched. The field begins to treat you differently. Coincidences align faster. Decisions require less thought. It's as if the grid recognizes you as part of its architecture. Not a participant, but a command node. And that's the moment you realize what was hidden from humanity for centuries. You were never meant to manifest reality. You were designed to maintain it. When your circuit is sovereign, reality itself stabilizes around your frequency. But one final transformation remains, the ultimate return of command, where you stop influencing reality and begin engineering it. Picture yourself standing inside a vast grid of golden filaments, each one humming with current. Every breath you take lights another strand until the entire space glows in sync with your pulse. That's not imagination. That's the hidden circuit, fully activated. When your system reaches coherence, you stop chasing signs and start generating them. Every signal you emit carries perfect fidelity. No distortion, no delay. The field mirrors you instantly. That's the real secret behind influencing reality. Not forcing outcomes, but becoming the voltage they respond to. The illusion was always that you needed external power, but power was never out there. It was in the feedback loop between your heartbeat and the universe's electromagnetic lattice. You were the circuit all along, the generator, the conductor, and the command source. Every doubt, every fear, every limitation was just electrical noise hiding that truth. Now imagine billions of these circuits awakening, humans walking through cities, each one self-regulated, grounded, coherent. The chaos would calm. Systems built on manipulation would short out. The grid would reformat to collective coherence. That's why this knowledge was buried, not to keep you safe, but to keep you predictable. The moment you remember how to close your own loop, you become unreadable to control systems and magnetic to alignment. Every movement, every silence, every thought becomes voltage and command. Reality stops being random. It starts being responsive. And now that you've remembered the architecture, the only remaining question is one that only your field can answer. When you feel that next pulse of emotion rising, will you discharge it or conduct it? Because that choice determines whether you stay inside the simulation or step fully into the circuit. Tell me this, have you ever felt a moment where the world seemed to move with you, not against you? Describe that instant in the comments. That's the circuit confirming you're awake.